Welcome back, folks, to azWHOLEistic. In this video, we want to talk a little bit about why doctors need to understand CBD better. Okay, so let's get right into it. So let's start with the basics, the reason why we believe this. Cannabinoids are natural modulators that stimulate millions of receptors in the body and brain. These natural plant extracts are currently not regulated. Only the best companies are regulating themselves. This means the plant biomass must be organic, not cheap, toxic biomass imported from China, which, by the way, is illegal. The extraction process must be free from harmful particulates and pesticides. In other words, it must be very clean. Also should be done in an ISO lab, formulated with robust testing and proper labeling with potency clearly indicated. Additionally, this is just our personal belief, but we believe that natural plant-based cannabinoids should be free from all artificial ingredients. To get the most out of nature, you do not want to add chemicals to it. That's the problem right now with so many people becoming ill, is that there's just too many sulfates, phosphates, stabilizers, emulsifiers, preservatives in all the food supply. So no artificial ingredients, no gimmicks like adding melatonin to CBD or adding caffeine and B vitamins, okay? The reason is that caffeine stimulates a different part of the brain than CBD. So if you're drinking caffeine with CBD in it, it's potentially going to cancel out the benefits of the CBD because it's working on different pathways in the brain, okay? So what doctors are saying, and this is something we're seeing a lot of in our stores. Here at azWHOLEistic, we've got 4 stores in Phoenix, Arizona. We have a lot of people that come in and say, my doctor sent me in to get some THC. Do you guys sell THC? And we say, no, we sell mostly cannabinoids with 1 or 2 products with 0.3% THC, but primarily we are the no THC store. Now, unfortunately, many physicians are not aware of the different effects between cannabis and hemp extracts. The chemical varieties in these plants are very different. THC potency is much higher in cannabis, and this has a huge effect on the way these molecules work. Doctors are telling people to get their medical marijuana card or go to a dispensary and try cannabis for their pain, especially if they have been on opiates and they want to get the patient off opiates. So in other words, reducing patient risk of dependency, they tell them to go and try cannabis. But this is in fact a backwards approach, because they should be introducing the patient to CBD and CBG first, due to the non-psychotropic and the anti-inflammatory immune modulating benefits. CBD helps balance GABA and glutamate in the brain. And let's go into some more details. So, what is the risk of telling an elderly person to go get their medical marijuana card or try THC? It's very simple, and this is really directed towards the physicians. Elderly people are at risk of several things when they use THC. Number 1, dispensary staff may not ask the right questions. Dispensary staff may suggest a strain that is not optimal for the patient. And there's so many cannabis strains, it becomes very confusing for somebody in their 60s or 70s. Now, another thing that's very important, and very few people understand this fact, not all people get sleepy from indica strains. Okay, some people's neurotransmitters in their brain are different, and they may get stimulated by indica, or a hybrid may sedate them. So not everyone's brain is the same. So there's also a potential to take too much and get too high and fall. So THC does, in fact, build up in the neurological field and over time can cause neurological inflammation. We know this for a fact if you've studied any of Christopher Shade's videos or seminars or lectures. You know that positively charged molecules in the brain can convert to negatively charged molecules, and that's when the THC molecule becomes a radical. Okay, when that happens, everything gets thrown out of balance. So, additionally, anyone with a neurological condition should consider CBD and CBG prior to trying THC, especially for pain and detoxification. So let's go into why. The non-psychotropics should be used first. Okay, it is a disservice to the patient to recommend THC before CBD, due to the way these molecules work with the nociceptive neurons in the body. CBD and CBG bind to non-cannabinoid receptors, allowing a more immune response via the CB2 receptor, which is primarily located in the gut. Now, anti-inflammatory and pain relief benefits come specifically from the TRPV1 receptor, and the anti-anxiety relief benefits come from the 5-HT1A alpha hydroxytryptamine receptor, which is a serotonin receptor in the brain. Additionally, FAAH. Okay, let's talk about FAAH, FAAH. CBD and CBG inhibit the production of FAAH, which is fatty acid amide hydrolase, and this molecule breaks down anandamide in the brain. So, for those people who may have too much FAAH in your brain, you're not doing very good. You're very stressed, you're kind of freaking out, cortisol is going up in the brain, and you're not feeling very good. So CBD augments anandamide, and it blocks FAAH for more of a CB1 receptor activation and more endocannabinoid tone within the system. Now let's touch on gene expression. This is a big one. We don't want to get too detailed in biology, but for any physicians that might be watching this, THC has very little benefit with gene transcription modulation. CBD and CBG do help with gene transcription and gene expressions. Okay, just as with meditation, your genes will begin to upregulate and increase oxytocin, which increases nitric oxide to the brain, allowing more vasodilation in the blood vessels. And cannabinoids support the endothelium, which is the barrier in the vessels and tissues that protect us against viruses. And many studies have confirmed CBD's benefit with NRF2. We're upregulating genes that fight off inflammatory cytokines in the brain, which means it's basically stabilizing microglia. Toxins that enter the brain, like mold, are detoxified through the NMDA receptor, and cannabinoids like CBD help to detoxify the gastrointestinal region. As we know, when you fix the gut, it typically sends signals up the vagus nerve into the brain, and headaches and migraines tend to go away. Not all headaches and migraines are caused from something in the brain. They are caused by something in the gut, sending signals to the brain, causing issues like inflammatory responses. Additionally, CBD helps to seal up a leaky gut from glyphosate and other gut toxins like paraquat and rotenone. Okay? So, in any event, CBD, CBG first. In summary, THC should only be suggested if the patient has not benefited at all by CBD or CBG, even at high dosages. So let's talk about dosing. The proper protocol here at azWHOLEistic is to begin low with 5 to 10 milligrams per day. Ingest it twice per day in the AM and the PM, unless it's just for sleep, and ingest it 1 to 2 hours away from any prescription medications that you're on. And of course, talk to your physician about your different medications. There have been some, although rare, okay, very rare situations where there's contraindications from cannabinoids and prescription meds. But be aware there potentially could be, especially with blood pressure meds, okay? Be consistent with your dosage and increase your dose every 3 days if you have no benefits. So in other words, if you're not feeling pain relief or less anxiety, slowly increase your dose every 3 days. So titration is very important. The biggest mistake people make is not increasing the dose. They take 5 or 10 milligrams, they don't feel anything, they say this stuff doesn't work. Okay, each person's dose is unique to their metabolism. Height, weight, and age have no bearing on cannabinoids. Large people could benefit by as little as 10 to 15 milligrams, and very small people may require 90 to 100. We've seen this happen thousands of times in our store. Cannabinoids work on different pathways than prescription meds, okay? So hopefully this has been helpful to any physicians or doctors or even any students studying cannabinoids out there. We want to thank all you doctors and physicians out there for all that you do. And remember, in the description below, in the reference, you can find some information regarding some lectures by PhDs and some of the many in vivo studies that have been done based on what we just discussed with regard to specific receptor activation. Thanks so much. Remember, do something nice for someone you don't even know, because we need a lot more of that in this world right now.